My name is Olivia Hagan, and this is my final project reflection. So, I worked with a third grade student named Haley, who is good with general algebraic reasoning and operations, as well as reading and counting, but she struggles with fractions, specifically with how they relate to having numerical value on a number line. So, I had her complete a warm up activity, and then after that, we moved right into my main activity, which was the fraction sort activity. I chose this activity because I felt like it specifically aligned with her needs. Haley has struggled very much so with the concept of fractions and again how they relate to a number line and their numerical value with that. So that is exactly what this activity exposes her to. The North Dakota State Math Standard that I will be utilizing here is 3.no.nf.2. Represent and understand a fraction as a number on a number line. Overall, I think this went very well. I helped build rapport with Haley by introducing myself to her as Miss Hagan, and I took the time to try to get to know her better. I told her a few of my hobbies, and she told me a few of her hobbies. I think making connections with students early on can make all the difference regarding their engagement, behavior, and even interest level in an activity. I also told her that I understand how difficult fractions can be and that I have a couple of fun activities that will hopefully make them a little bit less confusing and a little bit easier. I think the warm up activity helped Haley gain a deeper understanding of fractions because she had to understand what a numerator and denominator was. She just had to write what the numerator and denominator was for each fraction she was exposed to. And she did not have much trouble at all with this. So then we moved into her being introduced to fractions, dealing with number lines, and then she did struggle there for a little bit. So the purpose of this activity was to have Haley practice working with and manipulating fractions, as well as to build a deeper understanding of the relationship between fractions and number lines. I helped explain to her that the dashes on the number lines indicate specific fractions. So after she labeled the fraction images that I printed and cut out for her, she then just had to tape them to the correct spot on the correct number line. At first, she seemed like she was just kind of guessing and was just not really understanding it. So I had her tell me her answers from what she had labeled them because she had those right. We overcame this challenge by having me ask her to break the number line into chunks. So if we had a total of two different chunks on a number line, then there are halves and so on. So after some practice, she was much more successful with the rest of this activity. I think it helped for her to see the printed out images I had her label instead of just seeing plain boring number fractions. This helped her obviously visualize the concept of fractions just a little bit better, and she was then able to accurately place them in the correct place on the correct number line. I think one thing that I could do differently next time would be to slow down the pace of the activity. So I could do this by breaking it into smaller chunks of information over multiple days. While I think Haley did a great job overall, I do think it could be a little overwhelming for any student to complete an activity like this, especially when it's something that they're not very confident in. So I wouldn't want to rattle their confidence or anything. Although again, like I said, I thought Haley did a great job. But yeah, I think overall I was really happy with how she responded. She was a really fun student to get to know. Here is some of her work. Here was the identify fractions warm-up activity. So she just had to write for 4/9, the numerator is 4, denominator is 9. And then I have a couple number lines. So here were the images I was talking about. So if there are halves, then she just labeled 0, then 1/2, then 1. And as we got further on, here are some other ones right there. They go into more complex fractions, but I did not worry about having her simplify all these fractions. We just kind of stuck to when it was 0, she didn't have to write 0/2 or anything. She knew that was 0, and same with 1. She didn't write that as 2/2. So yeah, that was my final project, and I had a really great time.